let's talk about Jamar Chase and how he's suggesting Joe Burrow could take a discount on his extension. Let's take a sound. Let's take a listen to it. Here's what Jamar Chase had to say.
At the end of the day, I don't think Joe's really too worried about how much money he's going to make because he's already making a tremendous amount. But it'll work out for itself. It'll always work out. I think Joe knows what he wants and how he wants to set up his contract to keep some of his weapons around him. And I think that's the biggest part for him.
I've never been one to talk about somebody else's contract and how it applied to somebody else's contract. But again, these young boys is different, and I mean they handle things a little bit differently. Maybe it is the right way. Maybe your teammate, maybe the guy that makes it so that you can make the money you're going to make should have an idea of what you're thinking and how you're going to move. I mean that relationship between your best weapon and yourself should be strong. What was y'all's takeaway from what Jamar Chase had to say?
I look at it like him and Joe, there's no way they ain't talk about this prior. And because you really, it's like an unwritten rule. We not talking about somebody else's contract and what they want and what they would take and wouldn't take. But when you say a discount, what kind of discounts you talking about? You know, like if you're trying to give me $20 and you want to give me 18, I'll take that $2 discount.
Okay.
You know, it's so it depends on the type of discount. Regardless.
But if that's
Joe Burrow is
18
making a
if
lot of
that's
money.
18 million and it's 2 million, are you okay with that discount?
Absolutely not. Now, okay, the type of contract that Joe Burrow is going to demand is going to be upwards of 50 plus million a year. So if you're Joe Burrow,
You think he'll get it that high?
absolutely,
Hey.
no question.
You think they can afford that in Cincy?
Can you afford it? If that's what he's going to get, you're going to find a way to afford it.
Dang.
And so,
How much guaranteed? That's guaranteed money per year.
so I'm gonna say with Joe, if he signs a 5-year deal, he will sign. I'll say with the 5 years, it'd probably be an extension, obviously. So it'd be a 6-year deal technically, but a 5-year extension. So I'd say 5 years, 300 million. Let's say 5 years. He probably could get 300 million.
Mm-hmm.
He'd probably settle for 200.
30?
Nah, got to be at
40?
least 50. 250 million. So that put him right at 50 million a year. Now, if you go long term, and probably half of that would be guaranteed, at least half of it. But the Bengals, this is one thing about the Cincinnati Bengals. If you're a really good player and you're coming up on your second contract, for the most part, they keep you, especially the quarterback and who they perceive as their best receiver. I believe they need to be proactive and sign T. Higgins right now. That's what I would do. But yeah, if he does take a haircut, it would be a trim, not a full-fledged, I'm cutting all my hair, just a little trim.
Man,
Give me a little fade.
Joe Burrow's a lifer. He's never leaving Cincinnati. From an organizational standpoint, if you let this man get out the door, you just shouldn't be in the business anymore. Just plain and simple. So when you're talking about contracts and moving forward with him, the two things that stand out to me are Kyler Murray and Deshaun Watson. And he's going to be way north of what those guys are making.
Really?
And absolutely. Man,
Not
this
what
man
TJ
has been,
just said.
man, he will be way north of what Deshaun Watson is making and what Kyler Murray is making. And what
You're
Aaron
saying
Rodgers is
making
what,
less.
North.
No, he will
North
be
is
north.
up.
He will be
Up.
he will be
Okay.
making
I'm
way
sure.
more
Way
than
north.
that.
Why am I tripping?
And
Okay.
and
All right. No.
and
Okay. Wow.
way
All
north,
right.
LeVar. We're not
That's it's
Atlanta.
just hard for me to
It's
comprehend
not
somebody's
south.
gonna make way more than Deshaun. That's crazy.
He's going to be way more than that. Is he
That-
not? Is he?
Well, that's why I just asked TJ.
Has
is
he
sure
not
it's
proved it?
300?
He has. So with that being said, him and Jamar Chase have a relationship, obviously, because those guys played together at LSU. There's nowhere that Joe Burrow is going to go
Said north. Oh.
moving forward with Jamar Chase Tyler Bird and T. Higgins and Joe Mixon, where he's going to have better weapons on the outside for him to become what he's Patrick Mahomes ish and Joe Burrow. That's it. And those guys going forward, he may take a home team discount, but there are ways around that to structure the contract. You don't have to give it to him in salary. You can give it to them in roster bonus or signing bonus or whatever the case may be. But they will find a way to keep him in Cincinnati. There's no way that Joe Burrow is leaving his organization. He's a lifer.
Hey,
He's not going anywhere.
Does Joe Burrow make it a point to say we got to keep TN? Jamar's not going anywhere.
Hey, he can walk upstairs as a quarterback for this franchise and say, you know what? I want my 3 guys around me. These guys are not going nowhere. And that is the leverage and the power that these quarterbacks, these elite quarterbacks in this business have. They can go upstairs and talk to the owners in the organization, the gyms. You know what? I want these guys around me. I'm staying. Keep everything intact, because the ultimate goal is to win the championship. And they are right on the cusp of being that team because they're so young and they have phenomenal talent on that offense. Why would you want to break that up or separate it if you're an owner or the GM? Joe Burrow's not leaving. Trust me.
Some people would say, why would Joe Burrow take any type of a discount? And
he doesn't have to.
If that's and again, is it up to Joe Burrow to be sensible in a contract approach? I mean, we're looking at what's taking place. Let's just use Lamar Jackson as an example. All right, Lamar Jackson has an idea of the number he would like to have. Baltimore has an idea of the number that they would like to award him or pay him, whatever, however you want to look at it. And it's not close. Now, everybody is stating that it's because he wants a fully guaranteed contract. You just mentioned creative ways in terms of getting him the money through bonuses and different things like that. Is this a fully guaranteed contract that Joe Burrow gets?
No, and it wouldn't. It's not even a conversation
Why
starter.
would you
When
say
you give
no?
somebody, go ahead, Plex.
Why would you say no?
Because when you give somebody a fully guaranteed contract, do you know what that team and that owner has to do with that money?
They got to put it in escrow.
That's why it will never happen with Cincinnati.
It's too much
they're
money.
not.
You got to
they're
put the
not
entire
cash
contract.
rich.
Well, they got the money in Cleveland.
I mean, yeah, it's a different
But
ownership.
he's not in Cleveland. He's in
It's a
Cincy.
different ownership.
I'm just saying,
You know,
that,
the
that is
Bengals-
the truth of the matter is if you fully guarantee
The
a contract,
learners,
that whole
you gotta
entire
put that money in
contract,
escrow.
the whole entire check. So if it's $300 million,
That money goes in escrow.
$300 million has to be in escrow for you to be able to do that.
And
deal.
so that's why with Joe, that's not going to happen.
As Joe, do you feel as though Joe is sensible enough to? Is he sensible enough to do that? And I would guess I would offer the question: is Baltimore able to put that type of money into escrow to be able to
got
do it?
bread. Bashadi, he got paper.
Do you
can
think
do that?
it would make sense to do that deal? I mean, I know I just threw in Lamar Jackson too.
Like, you know,
but
but even
I'm
with
just
Baltimore,
curious.
they've offered Lamar the second most guaranteed money in the history of the league. So wherever that lands between Deshaun Watson and I believe it's Russell Wilson or Kyler Murray.
It's Kyler Murray.
I was told they offered him
Joe
the second
Burrow's
most
getting
guaranteed money
Joe
in the
Burrow
history
is
of the
going to
NFL.
get more than all of them.
Yeah, but it's not going to be fully guaranteed because of
The
that
amount.
money having to go in escrow. That's the thing. Now, this is a question we haven't talked about or discussed is as we're talking about contracts, when will we see that quarterback that says, you know what, I want to tie my contract
I want to share the
to a
definition of
percent
balling.
of the salary cap so that I'm never underpaid. I want to make sure that I'm getting X amount each and every year. Which team will go down that path of doing that and piss everybody off like the Browns did with Deshaun Watson giving him a fully guaranteed contract?
It's a great question. And you know what? We won't answer that today.